Mumbling about stuff.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, April 15th of 2025. This is the Stoughton City Council Reorganizational Meeting, and the first item of business would be the roll call.
Okay, Nino.
Here.
Caravello.
Here.
Sherlucky.
Here.
Hirsch. Here. Jensen.
Here.
Legaki. Absent and excused. Yep, Mayaski. Absent and excused.
Yeah.
Butler.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
Abel and Wozniak Scanlon are absent and excused as well.
Yeah, we're excited. It's okay. Good thing they showed up. Okay. We are certified of compliance with open meeting laws. And the next item would be the oath of office and seating of incoming alderpersons, which our clerk Candy will do that at the podium. And are you doing them all at once, or what's your plan?
I can do them all at once.
Okay. All right.
It's a lineup.
Yeah, it's a lineup.
Could you please raise your right hand and repeat after me, stating your name? I.
Jordan Dilson, Patrick Butler.
Perfect. Having been elected to the office of alderperson,
Having been elected to the office of alderperson,
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of said office to the best of my ability.
of said office to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations and congratulations.
Thank you.
And we have everyone's votes, so you're all set. Awesome.
All right.
And they've all officially signed their life away? All right. Thank you for doing that. Oh, man. It's like the power team over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
good thing the city attorney's there, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I maybe stuck it in here. Be a witness.
Yeah, we're not letting you off the hook that easy.
There you go.
Thank you.
You did.
I would have caught it.
Okay, the next order of business would be the council elections, so that we'd start with the council president and vice president. And I was informed we have new rules for how we vote, right?
Yes, we cannot do paper ballots. It all has to be open votes. So, yeah, it has to be public.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, in the past, we did paper ballots, added them up, but you still had to write your name on it so that we still had a public record of it. But
Yes, there's a court case that says we can't do that.
and you would know that, right? Okay, so I'll accept nominations for city council president. Would anybody like to nominate somebody? Alderperson Reeves.
I'd like to nominate Brett Schumacher.
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed?
I abstain from the vote.
One abstention. Congratulations, I think.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations, Brett.
All right, and then next up would be for City Council Vice President, and we'll do the same process. I would open it up for nominations.
I would like to nominate Alder Reeves as Vice President.
All right. Are there any other nominations?
I'll second his nomination.
Okay, I don't even know if we need a second, but we'll take it. All right. Any other nominations for the second time? One more time. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
All right, one abstention. We have a president and a vice president. I think you could vote for yourself, because,
Right, for Scott here.
yeah. Okay, so we'll get into our, we do have some business items that we'll get into. And let me just share my screen here, maybe. And the first one would be R41 of 2025, and that's the mayor's aldermanic appointments to the standing committees. And as you probably know, we have 6 standing committees, and by ordinance, we have a council member from each district on each of the standing committees. So what I try to do is I send out a request to the alders and try to fulfill as many as I can. It's my responsibility to appoint them. It's the city council's responsibility to confirm them. And so that's basically the process. And what I try to do is, as much as I can, is have some continuity, at least carry one over. And you might notice there are a couple that are vacant. We have a vacancy in District 1 Alder. So the idea would be, since I didn't really have any requests for those two, whoever ultimately fills that position will be appointed and hopefully confirmed to those remaining committees. Did I miss anything?
You missed the second roll call.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay. So before we do that, we have to have an additional roll call.
Yep.
And whenever you're ready, we'll do that.
Nino.
Here.
Stan?
Yep, you're
Okay,
good.
gotcha. Caravello.
Here.
Sherlucky.
Here.
Hirsch.
Here.
Jensen.
Here.
Hillison.
Here.
Reeves.
Here.
Butler.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
We have 9 alders, excuse me.
All
Yes,
right.
we have 9 alders present, and we have 2 absent and excused.
All right, Christina's trying to get on here. We're not really sure what's going on, so
Okay. That's what I was
we'll work on that. So as I mentioned, we have these 6 standing committees. They typically meet monthly, and in the email I sent out, it kind of highlights the nights and times that they meet. Those are subject to change by the committees. At the next committee meeting, they'll do their own reorganizational meeting for the committee chairs, and then they can go through and confirm the time and date that they would like to have the meetings. And if they change, we just ask whoever the chair is to let the clerk know so we can keep the calendar up to date and staff can make sure the packets get out in a timely manner. The other thing to note is by ordinance, the city council president cannot chair a committee, and each alder can only be the chair of one standing committee. So, in your packet, you'll see the assignments that I put on there, and I would entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Motion by Sherlucky, is there a second?
Second.
Second by President Schumacher. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, on the next one, R41 or R42 of 2025, we do have a couple of things that I would like to add on to this one. So beginning with the board of review, I had one vacant seat. Alderperson Butler has offered to take that appointment, so I appreciate that. And we have a meeting date set for the board of review. It's just a one and done meeting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we appreciate you filling that. And then the other request I had was I had Alderperson Sherlucky on the Opera House board. His schedule's not going to allow him to make those meetings. So if anybody is interested in serving on the Opera House board, they typically meet once a month on Tuesdays, which I believe would have been today. And they meet during the daytime. It's usually at 10 o'clock. Yeah. So if somebody's interested, we can change that now, or you can think about it and we can bring it back at the next meeting because there is time. Is anybody interested in that one right off the bat? And Lisa?
I could do that, if someone else has a strong interest. I've served on it before, so if someone would like to, as a new experience, I'm fine with that too. But if not, I'd be happy to serve.
I'm not hearing anybody else, so I think it's yours. We'll put you down, so we'll add that to the resolution. And then the other one was we have a vacant seat on the Utilities Committee, and Alderperson Hirsch has offered to take that seat. My thinking was if nobody else filled it, we would see if the new alder would take it. But since you've been on there, I think it would be really helpful if you were able to continue. So we appreciate that, unless nobody else had requested that. So I think that'll work out. And then you have to be removed from the Sustainability Committee. And the reason that is we potentially could have quorum issues because there would be three people that would have been on the Sustainability Committee that are also at Sustainable Stoughton. So it's possible that they could have a quorum. Go ahead.
Danelle notified me that she did not want to continue on with Sustainability Committee. I don't think she's notified anybody at the city.
Yeah. How recent was that?
Maybe a week or two ago.
And have you talked to her? I have not talked to her.
I assumed you guys had talked.
No. So what we could do is we can do it either way. We could either leave you on there and just pull you off of there later, or we could appoint you at the next council meeting if Danelle is in fact. We can confirm with her in the meantime. I don't know. Oh, okay.
A little bit too much.
All right. So what would you like to do? Or we could put a hold on both of them and we can sort this out and put them on next week's council meeting. You want to do that? So we'll reach out. Okay. Because I know President Schumacher also offered to be on the Utilities Committee. So if push came to shove, you could be on Sustainability and he could take Utilities. But we'll check with Danelle. I mean, I'd like to, make sure that that's where we're at with her because I haven't talked to her recently. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So at this point, we'll go with basically the two changes. Is that what we have?
Yes.
The Opera House and then the Board of Review. So we'll go for that for now, and we'll leave Utilities vacant. Should we leave Regina on or take her off to Sustainability? It's about a horse apiece.
Okay, leave it as it is, as
Okay.
it stands, and then we'll sort it out in the next round,
Okay.
next meeting.
All right, we'll do that. So, having said all that, I would entertain a motion then with the two additions.
Make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Butler. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. The next one is R43, and this is citizen appointments to the standing committees. So we do have a citizen member, two citizen members that we appoint to each of the standing committees except for Personnel Committee. And I think for the most part, most of them have indicated that they'll continue to serve, except for we had changes on CACP. And one of them is because Jordan was on there, and he's currently on the council, so we were able to find 2 people to fill those spots. So I would, and then the other thing I'll add is at some point, we're hoping to have the student member. And so I sent the resolution that you all passed to Dr. Keyser at the school district. And hopefully for the next school year, we'll be able to have somebody in that position. So that would be another citizen member that would be at the council meetings. So I haven't forgotten about that. So for the standing committees, I would entertain the motion for the citizen members as listed.
I have a question.
Sure.
There seems to be one citizen that's going to be like on 3 different committees between the boards and committees and commissions and the other standing committees. Is that without being an elected official? That's 3 committees at one.
Are you talking about the public works person? Because some of them are interrelated, where the public works, in the past, the council member that was on there would be selected to serve on the tree, what was the tree commission, which is now the tree advisory group. And they would like to allow,
no, this person's on the alcohol policy and on
the alcohol policy.
and the community affairs and public policy. So there's 3 different ones.
Yeah, the alcohol policy one may be dissolving. So it would be 2, but even if it was 3, it's not unheard of. I know Alderperson Tilson was on 3 committees.
Okay, I just didn't know if we had a policy of how
We
many.
don't.
And that should be something that should be brought up to CACP.
We can do that. We're at CACP, we are reviewing our ordinances related to committees because we found that not even half of the committees are defined in our ordinance and the other half are not. So that's one of the things that we're working at. So we can certainly put some language in there. We're getting closer to the point where we can run that language past the city attorney. And then what we would do is, once that's approved, we'll go back to the ordinances that are currently in there, and we probably will reformat them. We're trying to get a consistent format. Right now, the wordage is all over the boards.
Yeah, and I mean, I really appreciate, the citizen involvement, but I think when they get to be on more than 2 and 3 and 4, then they're competing with the number of committees that elected officials are. Then
Sure.
we should just kind of review that if that's what we want to do.
Yep, certainly do that. That would be a policy decision. So we have direction. We'll include that into our conversations. And like I said, the alcohol policy, and I can't remember the other one. There might be 1 or 2 others that eventually will dissolve because, they rarely meet. And, it's hard to keep people committed and motivated if they're not meeting. And a lot of that is just because there's nothing to discuss. What's that? Yeah, that one, there's a long story. Someday when you're bored, I'll tell you. But basically, that was in a covenant for the business park, and they couldn't get everyone to sign off on eliminating that, even though all the lots have been sold. So there's a lot of history there. I might have the city attorney look at that one, because it's like in perpetuity, and I don't know if that's should really be that way. But there are at least 1 or 2 others that we're looking at, and we would bring those recommendations, and it would be up to you all to decide whether or not those committees should continue. The alcohol policy specifically, when that was formed, it was before the alcohol laws changed, and all the alcohol laws changed, and it really minimizes any opportunity for them to make any meaningful decisions. So we are thinking about dissolving that. Many of the people that are on there are also on the Wellness Coalition, so we've been working with them on the same type of issues anyway, so it's a little bit redundant, but it's a good point. Alderperson Jensen?
Maybe you can help alleviate my confusion here on Business Park North. We did vote as a group here to eliminate that, correct?
My understanding is we have to have everybody sign off on the covenant, and there was 1 holdout and that was actually
Okay.
before my term started. So the way it was written, we needed to have a unanimous support from the business park owners, and some of the ownership has changed. So that's something I have to talk to the city attorney about, how we would go about doing that.
But we did vote on it, right?
I don't remember that. I know we discussed it.
Sometime in my head, I think,
Yeah.
I thought we did.
Well, we'll see if we can pull that out.
But if we did vote on it, do we have to then somehow rescind that vote, Rick?
I would have to look to see what the actual vote was. Because like if there was we have to be sort of careful here about where we're straying for open meeting purposes. But
Yep.
the covenants, they would typically require all the landowners. So even if we voted for it and somebody said no, it wouldn't change the effect of the vote. It's just that it was not able to be effectuated by the council.
Okay, so that was, basically it's irrelevant. Our vote was irrelevant.
If what the mayor is saying is true, that there was a holdout, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'll have to take a look at the covenants to review.
Yeah, and that goes back before my time. So we'll have to look into our archives and then see if there was anything. Do you recall anything?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So anyway, we'll follow up on that. Any questions or comments on the citizen appointments? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion for those.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Sherlucky. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. All right, the next one is citizen appointments to non-standing boards and committees, and there's a whole bunch of them. So these are all the non-standing committees. So many of these are the ones that I referred to that we're working on the ordinances. And you can see there's a few that are not filled yet. Board of Appeals, they rarely meet, so I'll look for somebody, but not too many times where they've had to meet. Sustainability, I think we're going to possibly have to post something on social media to get that one filled, because we're down 2 members, possibly 3 citizen members. But the rest of them, we've had pretty good luck filling, and we certainly appreciate the citizen members that are willing to give up their time to do that. It's very helpful. Any questions on any of those? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Is there a
Second.
second by Nina? Okay. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? None opposed. The next one is confirming RDA appointments. And the reason this one is separate is there's some weird, I don't even remember, it's like a 5/8 vote or something. It's not 2/3 or 3/4. It's something by statute where it's, so we usually vote on this one separately in case it's not a unanimous vote. I don't anticipate any problems, but you never know. So we have 2 alder appointments and 2 citizen appointments, and we could certainly split that out if that's something you wanted to do, but we just lump them all together. We have 1 new citizen member, so we appreciate Jennifer willing to come in. Alderperson Hirsch recommended her, so I had a nice conversation, so we're looking forward to that. And then on the alders, Alderperson Hirsch has been on there, and then Alderperson Sherlucky was nice enough to throw his name in the hat, so we'll have to get you up to speed on what's going on here. Maybe you two can have coffee one day. And
Hey, he's already on that. We're already doing it.
really? That's awesome. Excellent. Thanks for doing that. Any questions or comments on this one? All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? Second by Jensen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
Aye.
Oh, yeah, she got on. Awesome. And any opposed? None opposed, that motion carries. All right, R46 is designation of public depositories and authorized signatures. And I think this is a standard list that's provided by the finance department. Maybe you can help me out with this one.
It's all deposits that do come from the finance department, as well as the people that are able to sign for some of the documents.
Okay. Yeah, and you can see there's a number of financial institutions that we use for various things. U.S. Bank is the main one that we use. Some of the other ones we use for lines of credit or, you know, different investments that the city might make. And then once our new finance director is in place, that person may have other ideas, and if they do, we'll come back and we'll update this list. But for now, we have myself and then Candy, the assistant director of finance, and the city treasurer would be the ones that would be authorized to sign for these items. Any questions or comments? All right, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Here a second.
Second.
Second by Butler. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. The next one is the designation of official newspaper, and you probably have more background than I do what we use that for.
So this is the official newspaper that the city uses if we need something more in depth than we would go to the State Journal or Capital Times. So right now it's the weekly paper, which would be the Hub.
All right, any questions or comments on that? I know there's been efforts in the past to just have legislation to limit it just to like social media accounts, but I don't think that's been very successful. I'm sure the city attorney is watching that closely.
No, every time that there's an effort to it, it always fails.
Yeah, and I think kind of the smaller communities would like to do that just to save money more than anything. It's not like we're not trying to be transparent. They're just trying to, you know, to preserve tax dollars more than anything. Any questions? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion for the official newspaper.
So moved.
Who was that?
Nino.
Nino? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Schumacher. All in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? That motion carries. All right. Now the moment you all been waiting for, and that's the designation of the attorney, which we changed this ordinance last year. And we do have a new agreement that we've been working on as well, but this is separate to that.
Yes.
Can you explain this, or is that a conflict?
You can stop me if you feel I need to just stop talking. So currently there is a 4-year agreement between the city and Stafford Rosenbaum. So we're in the last year of that agreement, but the ordinances have you designate the city attorney every year. This basically, if approved, would just allow Stafford Rosenbaum to continue representing the city, serving as the city attorney and acting with all the same statutory powers that are granted to the city attorney office. But
Right.
I guess just on a personal note, I've really enjoyed working with the city. I know a year and a half ago, sort of transitioned from Matt to myself, but I've been really enjoying working with all of you, and I've been having fun. So if you want to call it that.
Well, he gets paid too, so, you know. All right. I would entertain a motion for the
Vote to
designation.
approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Butler. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Passes. Thank you for all the work you've been doing. I know it's been extremely busy, and you've been really great to work with.
No, I really appreciate that, and like I said, I've really enjoyed the working with all of you and working with the city, and looking forward to continuing doing so.
And I know some of the alders, particularly Schumacher and Hirsch in the past, have really giving up extra time to work with you, and hopefully they appreciate your work as well. Yeah. Okay. Communications. Are there any communications from alders? Okay, hearing none. In the packet, you'll see there's a number of proclamations. We have a volunteer day in Stoughton every year. It's a week from Friday. You're welcome to join us at City Hall I believe it's at 1 o'clock, or noon it is. Noon it is. So we'll have people there. We'll be presenting for the categories that are listed: Volunteers of the Year, Friend of Youth, Business of the Year, and then I put in a couple other proclamations. It's Telecommunications Week, and last week was National Library Week. And there'll be plenty more to come in May. May is a busy month for proclamations. So those are in there. And our next action item is discuss the proposed lease with Stoughton Chamber. So Sarah Ebert is here from the Chamber of Commerce. She presented at the Finance Committee meeting, and she asked to be here tonight to give you all an update of what's going on with the Chamber and what we can do to help them. So the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much for letting me come in tonight. I know this is a quick meeting, so I'll try to keep it quick. I won't be here next week, so I wanted to be here in case anybody had any questions. I think they included it in your packet, the lease agreement that was written up by the attorney, and then I had a few revisions to it, and then just a statement, one-page statement about some of the benefits and some of the things that I have found that other chambers have done within their cities. I guess instead of rereading all of that, does anybody have any questions they would like to ask me first?
There are all the red lines that are within the bit in the packet. Those are all standing still, or
Yeah.
as proposed? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
They were just, yeah. The biggest one is in doing, like I said, some research with other chambers within Wisconsin. There was 3 camps. There was chambers that are either in City Hall or within city buildings, found no issues with it. There's some chambers that never were part of the city that would say don't, because you don't want to cross those lines. I had a few of those, and then there's just a few that have their own buildings. So right now, with leaving, I would like to ask for a couple of years so we can get our wheels under us. This was something actually before the Smet Foundation even came to be, that we were going to start this year taking a look at what are the chamber needs, what our businesses want. The space that we are in, is that meeting those needs, or is there something else that we could offer to our businesses? And taking a look at that, we'd also have to take a look at increasing our non-due revenues and what that has to look like. So there was some things that I was going to start investigating with our board, taking a look at what we could do. And it just so happened that, don't put the cart before the horse. The cart came first. So I would like to have some time to take a look at that, because our chamber has events throughout the year. Getting it done within a year wouldn't be feasible. It wouldn't be sustainable with whatever I come up with. So I want to make sure that what we come up with and move forward on would be sustainable. If I were to go out and try to rent, and we did look at a few properties, it would be close to about $1,000 a month, and then we would also be in charge of making any kind of renovations. We would also be in charge of furnishing it. I don't take a huge footprint at the depot, and so when it was brought up maybe coming to City Hall, I thought that would be a natural fit, because people don't always, City Hall gets a lot of questions about what the chamber does, and we get a lot of questions about what the city does. So it's a go-to. It's downtown. We're also the visitor center that people could come. Candy and I have yet to have an opportunity, because this all happened so quickly, to talk about what would make sense about actual location. I know that the attorney had come up with some space ideas and with the mayor of possibilities, but that was just first round with really not talking to anybody. So I would like to spend some time with the people that's actually going to affect and see what makes the most sense. So we would definitely come out with a lot of clear communication to the community and to our businesses, the difference that we're not combining, and then just how does that look. I am asking, it was in the lease to ask for us to pay. I am asking for these 2 years that we do not pay. We will continue to pay for our insurance and covering it. I'm going to be looking into taking our current phone over, and then I'm more than happy to cover that. Any kind of signage that we would need outside and inside, indicating that the chamber and visitor services, so it's clear. I'm more than happy to pay for, but for the actual, we're not going to use any more lights that are already on, or use any more electricity that has already been used there. We're going to operate within the same hours as the city, so the chamber is not going to be open door policy longer than what the city hall is going to be open for. I do ask, though, that I am able to get into the building or work later as needed. My hours are a little bit longer than the city open hours. So I think I pretty much covered that. Again, my goal would be to move in June after Santa Mai. We have an event in July, so June is kind of a good month. We will take care of the move. I do need to have a space to have some indoor storage that I know that hasn't been fleshed out what and where that looks like. I do have need some outside storage, and the mayor had taken a look at that outside shed that's right on the premise that is underutilized. I can say fair to use, that we could store some things in. We also have some things out at the barn at Racetrack that can stay there for Santa Mai, but just so that we can have access to that. I have 2 employees, one full-time, our events coordinator, Clove Rui, and then a part-time our tourism coordinator that Amanda works 25 hours a week. And then I work Tuesday through Friday. I am not in the office on Monday.
All right, and I would just add some of the stuff there in the red line, those are constant conversations. So one of the examples is the parking. The parking is pretty much whatever is available. I know your concern is you don't want to get a ticket. I have the same concern, and I don't always park in the same spot every day. And I know if I park on a side street, there's no possibility of getting a ticket there. It's in the lot or on Forest Street. So, we're looking for flexibility there. I'm working with the city attorney on the language to give us flexibility on the space, because, we have a map in there. We have things kind of mapped out a little bit, but if things change, we want the flexibility to relocate somewhere upstairs for the members of the chamber as long as they're there. And then the space for storage downstairs, we have some work that we need to do before I can commit the actual space. So for example, right now, the planning department has items in the vault upstairs and 2 different rooms downstairs, maybe even 3. So my hope is to get all of their stuff in one room. And then the clerk is going to need room downstairs for the clerk items. Right now, the clerk has the items scattered. How many buildings are you in? In 3 buildings as well. So we're looking to empty out the vault so we can get most of the clerk's items in the vault. And then some downstairs. The finance department has items that are in the vault that they're like yearly audits, which are also available electronically. Those file cabinets and those items can go downstairs. So I'm not sure where the dust is going to settle downstairs for the space, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to do some purging as well. So we'll have space available. I just haven't been able to identify it yet. So we're trying to figure out how we can have the language in there to give us the flexibility to make that decision a little bit later, because we have to move some things around. you're gonna be gone, you said, for next week's meeting, and then you'll be in the set in the my mode after that. So we want to continue the discussion in hopes that we can come to terms sometime, preferably in May, so they can make their arrangements for the move. And I can also share that I know if there's an opportunity, the Schmidt Foundation would like to move up the closing date, but we don't know. We have to see if all the stars will align to do that. So that's part of the conversation we're having as well. Any questions from council members?
So is this ready to be voted on? It
No.
seems like there's a lot, so is this a discussion and
Yep.
let us think about it?
Yep, we just wanted to get you in the loop. I think the next thing we would more likely do is make some changes to that red line version of the agreement, take it through finance again, and have the finance bring a recommendation to you all, and then ultimately it'll be your decision on what to do. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I think that's a good summary. We're still working on making some changes and, looking, maybe Tuesday we'll get more feedback on where the council stands on some of these items, but tonight I think was more of informational purposes.
And just to tell you the dedication of the city attorney, I was getting emails on this last Sunday. And I was replying too. So we've been actively working on this. So, any other questions or comments? So, yeah, Sarah just wanted to come tonight because she wouldn't be available at the next meeting or two. So, we appreciate you being here and everything the chamber does. I can tell you that our membership, we're at record numbers. Our events are all sold out. These gals down there are really doing an amazing job, and our business owners are thriving because of some of your efforts. So we appreciate that.
And thank you. And I just want to point out, I'm looking for 2 years, and then we can evaluate if it is a good fit for either side. And also, AJ had asked me a bunch of questions that I got back to her, but I don't hold events at City Hall. I do have meetings, but they're small meetings. I did see also they have a beautiful conference room downstairs that, that I would like to, I don't know if it would be, people would take me up on it or not, but if any of our businesses is looking for a space to hold a meeting here and there, they could utilize that. I just think there's, some nice things that we could offer. So, yeah, I'm pretty flexible about it.
Sure. Alderperson Reeves.
I just had a question that may have already been covered in finance, but it looks like at one point the rent was was 300, then it's 200, but I think you said your preference would be not to pay rent. So I think if the financials for the chamber would be available for the finance committee, that might be helpful so that it is not necessarily an arbitrary decision. We could make that decision based on some financials, and maybe you all have already had that at finance, but that would be helpful to me anyway.
So the 200, yes, they originally proposed 300,
Yeah, that came from
300
the
now.
city attorney as a
Yep.
placeholder.
But the 200 I proposed back to start after the 2 years, to give me 2 years free. It's actually, you were currently paying for us to be at the depot, and that will no longer
Yeah.
be there. So,
Our
yeah,
utility bill at the depot was, what did I say, it was $4,000 a year. And then over the last 10 years, we've been averaging about $8,700 a month in expenses that's maintenance and utilities. And we've already seen that Schmidt is willing to invest a lot of money into the building. They were at Landmarks last week, so we know that even with the money that we invested in the building, that building needs additional work. So there's going to be some cost savings there, as well as there's going to, once the sale closes, there'll be some money available. And that will be a conversation that we'll also have beginning at finances, how to allocate that money. The assumption is at least part of it is going to help the Historical Society move. We could certainly, the other option would be is to help the chamber pay rent somewhere else, but for $1,000 a month, I personally think it makes sense to have them at City Hall and save that money. But you all may have a different opinion. but that would probably have to be the backup plan because they wouldn't have the financial resources to do that. And I think you could probably provide, to finance, a budget or whatever to the finance committee that would demonstrate that. Okay. Anything else? All right. Thanks for being here, and congratulations to your son too. You bet. Okay, item 11 is R49 of 2025, and that came, let's see, it was at the Personnel Committee. Do you want to go through it before we make a motion, or how would you, it doesn't really matter to me. Okay. Okay.
I was saying I was reading stuff.
If I can preface it with the panel members, I wanted to make sure everybody read through that ahead of time. We had Brett on the panel to represent both finance and personnel. We had David Erdman on there as well, who is a finance person who's with Baker Tilly and previously, or he still is on the Utilities Committee. And then we had Assistant Director Hoops on there from the utility as well, Director McGlynn as an outside party, and then myself. So with no further ado, Tim was on there as well. If you don't mind reading the resolution, then we can go from there.
All right.
And Lisa is here, just so everybody knows. That is Lisa.
So this is R49 of 2025. This is a resolution authorizing and directing the proper city official to approve the hiring of Lisa Trevitowski as the Finance Director Comptroller. Do you want me to read the salary?
I don't think you need to read the whole
Okay.
thing.
All right. The important part out of that would be at least the request to approve the hiring before the background check was completed.
Correct. So what we're looking to do there, this is a full background, the same as we do for a police officer coming in. So the background can take a couple of weeks. So what we're hoping is to get your approval so that we can start moving forward with the process pending that background check. I did speak with Chief Jenks. He does not anticipate any type of issues with Lisa being with Ellers and bonding those types of dollars out there. So he does not have any hesitation, but cannot give me a pass until we're able to check all those boxes. Lisa does come to us, like I said, from Ellers. Her face is probably familiar to most of you. She has presented here in front of the council before. She's been there for 4 years. She was with the city of Watertown, and there she monitored cash flows, investments, analyzed financial statements, and Village of Johnson Creek, annual budgets, budget development, and then also with the city of Janesville, where she started her career. So she has a strong background in finance to start with. Also has been a clerk, done some HR work. Very well-rounded, and ending up right now at Ellers, and I would recommend that you make the approval tonight so we can move forward with the hiring. Thank you.
And I move the resolution.
All right. Second by Alderperson Sherlucky. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. Congratulations and welcome.
Your start date, you want to share that?
May 5th.
So she's already given notice and took a chance on us there. We appreciate that. So she'll be joining us on the 5th, and we're pretty excited. She also has a relationship with Shannon over in Utilities, so I want to be very upfront about that and transparent. We're really excited about that. Brett and I talked about it with the bridging the gap between the city finance department and the utilities. So we're pretty excited to have an established relationship there. So hopefully that'll be a really good foot in the right direction. So we're pretty pumped to have you joining us. So thank you.
Which used to be done by Director Friedel, and he would do his Gollum and Smeagol when he did both of the finance directors. Anyway. But you went Cinco de Mayo instead of the Star Wars Day, May the 4th?
You stay up at night to come up with this stuff? That and historical facts, I mean, I tell you. I guess that's what you do to become president, right? It's all them little things.
Just wait till I start working Phil Collins lyrics in.
Or Genesis.
Or Genesis.
Oh, okay. Who would have known? All right, I think that's all we had for tonight. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Jensen, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Hirsch. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Have a good night.